Hi, I'm Dr. Wesley Ferreira, Clarinet Professor at Colorado State University. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little about how to prepare for this year's Colorado All-State Band and Orchestra audition. We'll focus on the Adagio excerpt here, Etude number 19, from Rose's 32 Etudes. You're only asked to prepare the first 14 measures for your audition. Notice right away the marking of dolce espressivo. This means you are to perform the etude sweetly and with expression. Focus on playing with a smooth and legato tone that contains a lot of color. Play all of the dynamic markings and indications that are written in. This will definitely aid you in your music making. But to play espressivo also means that you should make music even when no explicit marking is provided. Have a lot of fun performing this piece and give it your own expressive interpretation. That being said, I want to go over in detail some challenges and pitfalls that you should be aware of when practicing this excerpt. Focus on the opening 5 notes in particular, practicing them smoothly and connected. This opening will make your first impression on the judges. The leap from the opening D to B flat can be tricky. Isolate those notes and make sure to connect them with fast-moving air that's tension-free in your fingers, throat, and embouchure. There are quite a few grace notes to be mindful of. These grace notes should not be played too fast. Play them gracefully and in character with the style of the work. At the end of measure 2, notice the crescendo marking. This crescendo actually goes all the way through measure 3 with a goal of the downbeat on measure 4. You're going to have to keep making a crescendo at the end of measure 3 on the descending line, especially since the natural tendency of the clarinet is to get softer as we descend into the shallow mo register. In measure 5 and 9, do not drop your tongue arch when playing down to the F sharp, or else this note will sound flat. Also play with presence on that F sharp so that it sounds connected to the previous note. In measure 6, be mindful that the loudest note on the crescendo needs to be the G on beat 2. Practice this deliberately because the natural tendency of the clarinet will be to sound the B flat louder. Finally, play with a forte dynamic all the way to the end of this excerpt in measure 13 and 14. I suspect that some of you will want to taper the ending, but you can demonstrate real awareness to the judges if you can avoid that tendency and play what is written. Now, I'm about to perform this piece for you, but before I do, a word about where you might breathe. Other than the obvious spots during the rests, your options are to breathe in measures 4 or 5, and again in measures 11 or 12. The key when breathing in these measures is not to leave too much space after the note before you take the breath, and the next note that you play after the breath. All breathing should sound musical after all. Record yourself when practicing this excerpt and use your ears as a guide to evaluate where you are hearing. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that it has been of some assistance to you in your preparation of this etude. If you have any questions or would like some feedback, please feel free to contact me via email, wesley.ferreira@colostate.edu, or you can contact me through social media. Good luck with your auditions. We'll focus on the Allegro Vivace excerpt here, Etude number 20 from Rose's 32 Etudes. You're only asked to prepare the first 31 measures, but if you continue working through the entire etude, you'll notice that it's fairly repetitive, so you can apply many of my comments and tips throughout. If you're going to perform the work up to the eighth note equals 180 tempo that is suggested for the audition, then it's best to start practicing slowly to start and work your way up gradually. Start by practicing everything slurred so that you can focus on your tone quality and that you're connecting the notes and that your fingers are moving effortlessly one note to the next without any hang-ups. This can only be done by practicing slowly to start. As you begin to notice your fingers automatically moving to the correct notes and your tempo allows you to feel the phrases with a sense of line, add in the articulations. Be mindful that you are articulating the correct notes. Work for a homogeneous sound and style of playing, each note sounding supported and connected to the next with your best tone. This will make your performance sound easy, and as musicians we are always striving to reach this level. I notice that many students tend to clip the last note of the slur before moving to the first articulated note. This prevents flow. Instead, play the notes longer as they go by, focusing mentally on hearing those pitches. Okay, let's discuss the 4 measures that are going to be challenging to most, measures 17 to 20. I have some specific methods and techniques that I suggest you use in your practicing. Here on the screen, we will go through each of them. First, practice each measure without the trill or grace notes, playing all slurred. Practice this slowly, working on connecting all notes and playing with great tone. Remember that you will need to use faster air to connect the first note to the second note because of the leap. The second practice technique involves isolating the trill and grace notes and playing to the first 16th note. I suggest that you practice playing this figure with 1 trill. You may be able to play with 2 trills at a slow tempo, but once you get close to the final tempo of eighth note equals 180, it will be too cumbersome, and you will likely lose tempo and fail to keep a regular pulse. Use this top trill key on the side of your clarinet while playing the written B flat in order to allow you to trill to the C. Don't be alarmed by how out of tune your C is when playing the top side trill key. This won't be noticeable and it will sound in tune up to tempo. Practice playing the trill into the grace notes as a turn, emphasizing the first note, B flat, and remembering to use a lot of fast-moving air to connect you through the leap to the note on beat 2. Here is a demonstration. Notice that I played the measures in time. You should too. Now that you've focused on the first part of each measure, the third and final practice technique is to focus on the second half of each measure. In this exercise, articulate the 16th notes and play the note on the downbeat long, for emphasis. This is why I have placed a tenuto accent in the musical example. And focus on playing to the downbeat with direction, hence the arrows in the crescendo to help guide you. Use these practice techniques slowly and return to them, isolating those measures often. Even when you begin to reach your final tempo, be of the mindset that you can never go back and practice them too often or play them too well. Certainly, the execution of those 4 measures may make the difference between chair placements in the audition. Now, I'd like to speak a little about the style of the etude. It's marked allegro vivace. Be careful not to play it furioso or with tension. I like a nice, light, and flowing interpretation. Many of you who play out of the original Carl Fischer edition of the Rose 32 Etudes book will notice that there are no dynamic markings. Each of us plays with our best tone at a particular dynamic level. Find out what dynamic level that is for you, and work to expand your best tone quality to other louder and softer dynamic levels. I suggest that you perform this etude within a dynamic range that allows you to show contour to the musical lines while playing with your best tone. The execution overall should be flowing and homogeneous, not allowing the articulated 16th notes to pop out of the texture. For sure, record yourself often and evaluate what you are hearing. Use the practice recordings to help you to improve your musical and technical execution. Finally, a word about where you might breathe. Certainly your best breath will come at the end of measure 16, otherwise there really isn't an ideal spot to breathe that doesn't break up a phrase. As you increase your performance tempo, many of you will be able to play the first 16 measures in one breath and the final 16 measures in one breath. If you find that you cannot, I suggest that you pull back the tempo slightly in measure 24, take a quick but musical breath in 25. I'm going to demonstrate this in my performance to come. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that it has been of some assistance to you in your preparation of this etude. If you have any questions or would like some feedback, please feel free to contact me via email, wesley.ferreira@colostate.edu, or you can contact me through social media. Good luck with your auditions.
Thanks so much for watching this Colorado All-State Prep video. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit music.colostate.edu for more information, including the opportunity to schedule an individual visit with the School of Music, Theater, and Dance. Good luck on your audition.